Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism.
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. Are we diving right into this, or you got some other stuff?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you want to have? We have where did I go? Turn on. Where did I go? What happened to me? Oh, there I am. I don't know. Not really. I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the election stuff that's going on right now. Some of the stuff that they're coming after Biden about. But I don't really have a ton. Do you have anything that you want to get into it?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, we'll do more when we're on the road together, because this is one I'd like to look at you when we talk about it.
Are you talking about the political stuff?
Yeah. Well, all the stuff that there's some changes to some of the stuff the Biden's trying to say. We got this. Trump is out there just saying weird. I mean, I don't know. You really have to watch what he says too, because first of all, he says some weird shit, Trump, and then on top of that, when he says his weird shit, then they edit it to make it sound even weirder. So I don't even know what's real right now. I think we're living in the Matrix, man.
Yeah. I saw where D.L. Hewley, I guess Joanne Reed. You know who that is?
Yeah.
I guess Joanne Reed. I guess Joanne Reed got wind of or saw part of my Vlad interview. I basically said, I guess in the thumbnail, Vlad put it where I said, some blacks deserve to be slaves again, because they're supporting a man that basically said again, and I think we touched on this. I don't know how deeply we dove into it, but if blacks relate to me because I have a mugshot and I've been arrested. So Joanne Reed reposted it, and then of course I guess DL follows Joanne Reed. Then he reposted it. So between Joanne Reed and D.L. Hewley, there was some good traction for me.
Yeah, that's nice that you got the traction. And yeah, he said that. But is that different than Biden saying, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black? And then on top of it, listen, I'm not saying don't vote for Biden. I'm not saying vote for Trump. I'm just saying these things. But then Biden has a history of saying foul shit about black folks too in his history. So, there is not a winner for black people in this election. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be. That's the honest truth. There's better. There might be better, but it's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, listen. I one of the comments as I was reading the comments, one of the comments that I saw was somebody saying, "Now here comes the Biden dead." So I'm not disagreeing with you. But listen, we know, and I don't want to, I don't want to keep treading the same waters, but because we end up doing the same talking points, and I'm saying the same things I've said a million times before. But it's like neither party, whether Democrat, Bill Clinton is, Hillary Clinton that, Biden is, whether it's right or left, they've both been for black people. One is not better to me than the other, and trying to validate one racism over another is just ridiculous. I
like how you said that, though. I like how you just said that, trying to validate one racism over another.
Yeah, it's all the same cesspool of, but like you said, I'm agreeing with you in that, neither party is good, but if there's that argument, the lesser of two evils, that's the only thing that I guess you can go with.
And unfortunately for me, I'm going to be really honest. I can't figure out which one the lesser is.
Well, I think for black people, it's obvious. It's Trump.
Really, because black people did way better with Biden than with Trump as president.
in terms of what specifically?
Name
Are
specifically
you,
what
no,
you
no,
think.
are you saying that? Is that a statement you're making, or you're asking a question?
I'm asking you a question. Black people have done better with Biden than they have with Trump as far as their life and what's going on in their lives.
Have they? You tell
I'm
me.
asking you.
I'm not a political guy. So I don't know. But every time I watch Bill Maher, he says that people have done that Biden has been more successful than people are giving him credit for.
I'm not going to disagree with that, though, either. Bill Maher's right. I think Bill Maher's right when he says that. To what extent do you say successful, though? And then I could say the same thing for Trump. I think Trump was more successful than he was given credit for as well, with certain groups, not all groups, with certain groups.
Okay, so I don't know the answer to this. I'm asking you, did blacks do better under Trump than Biden?
I can't answer that. And this is the reason why I said I voted for Biden in the first place this last election, was I think the media feels better than with Biden as president than they do with Trump as president. The media does, and the media is a big concern because the media helps the American people come to the conclusion, because most Americans, including myself, aren't well educated on politics and what the outcome of policy will be for the people. So they depend on the media, and the media has turned into magazines yelling, conservative and liberal magazines yelling at each other and taking sides. So I feel like the political parties, I think that the media is more at rest with the political party being electing Biden. They feel more comfortable with it. I'm telling you right now, if I had to go vote tomorrow, I'm pulling the handle or I'm writing in for Robert Kennedy Jr., which is crazy, but no more crazy than the other two choices. So that's all. I don't know. I wish I was more educated. You know what? That's going to be my thing going forward. And while we're on this Canadian tour, as a matter of fact, I'm going to make it an effort to read more and try to get more and really see things from even a different point of view, seeing Canadians' point of views. But that's very, there's two sides in Canada politics too, very conservative and very liberal. So it'll be interesting to see how I interpret things differently in another country as I'm getting information from that country and still getting information from back home. So, speaking of that, real quick though, before we jump in, why don't we give out some of these dates that are coming up so we can we'll let people in Canada know right off the top, because I think it's nice when they know right in the beginning, because some people don't listen all the way to the end. They get to the end, they want to go do something else. So here it is. You're listening to this Wednesday, and the next day we're going to be in River Cree in Enoch, Alberta, followed by, that's Thursday the 11th, and Friday the 12th we're going to be at Grey Eagle in Calgary, and back at the Funny Bone in the United States at Syracuse. That's the 13th and 14th, followed by, we take a few days off, and then we go to Bronson Center Theater in Ottawa on Saturday, the 27th of April, and the 28th of April, we're at the Olympia in Montreal. And then we're, the 29th, we're off. And then on the Tuesday, the 30th of April, we're going to be at Halifax in Nova Scotia at the Belrose Arts Center. So that's our Canadian tour. I just thought I'd give everybody that information. For you people in Canada that might be catching this, I hope you listen to it and you know where we're going to be and you're going to come out and support.
Okay. Something that, Andy has mentioned to me a few times that I've put off, not purposely, just happened to, work out that way. But I checked out the Founder on Netflix, story about how Ray Kroc bamboozled and fucked the McDonald's brothers out of their franchise.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, it was. It actually really, really was. And I probably have a question. I know I got a couple questions to you about some things that I didn't understand and maybe you could educate me on, but one of which is, can you explain the chicken and demand theory to me.
Well, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? And so his theory is, first of all, when this is the very beginning of the movie, so it's great to ask this question now. He's selling milkshake machines, malt machines with the spinner on it. And most of the ones at that time were one spinner machines in the 50s. Like you put the cup on and it was one unit.
Yeah.
This one had 6 units on it. So you could make 6 times as much basically with that one machine, and it would be faster because you didn't have to wait for that one to get done. You could do 6. If a table of 6 sat down, they all ordered milkshakes, boom, you could have them all done relatively, at the same time, go out together, and it would be much faster. So what he was saying was the chicken or the egg, which came first. Well, you can't have the chicken, someone has to lay the egg, and then the story of the chicken and the egg, you know that story, right? Which one came first?
No.
Okay, well, the question is, which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? You can't have a chicken if the egg wasn't laid, right? But you can't have who's going to lay the egg if there's no chicken. So can you answer the question, which came first, the chicken or the egg?
I think the more important question is, which is more important, the chicken or the egg?
Well, that's the point of it. It's equally as important because you can't have the chicken without the egg, but you can't have the egg without the chicken. So how is any one more important?
So ladies, that's what we've been trying to say to you about abortion. It's just as much our say as it is yours. Because you can't have the baby without the male mayonnaise, and without the male mayonnaise, without the woman, we can't. Our male mayonnaise is useless. So that's the whole point.
Well, that being said, but that's the question, and so the answer is interpretation. You have to interpret what it is. His interpretation was, if you only can serve so many milkshakes per hour, if you can buy this machine, make the investment, you'll start selling more milkshakes because you can make more. So that's basically which comes first. Which do you want to do? Do you want to build the business and then sell milkshakes, or do you want to be able to sell a lot of milkshakes and the business will come because of it? So that was his point. Got you.
Yeah, I was a little lost during that.
Yeah, well, it's not, and then he's mumbling through some of it because they show him getting frustrated because he's a salesman. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to sell. He's looking for his big moment.
Dude, I guess the year was 1950 something. I think it's
54. 1954. Yep.
Burgers, fries, and Coke, 35 cents. How much money made you rich back then?
Well, I think the average American only made something like between $4,000 and $7,000 a year. $7,000 was good money. $11,000, you were killing it.
So if you had $500,000, you were considered.
Oh my God! If you you were rich. Wow. A millionaire was like a billionaire back then. There was very few millionaires.
Wow.
So it was a whole different, it's a different time period than we're talking about. A loaf of bread was what, a dime? At most a quarter? When I was growing up.
How much you think, because of the time and the money matched the time, how much you think pussy cost back then?
Oh man, you could get it for 7 cents. You walk away, you should walk away and you just hear her juggling change going, woo!
It's funny. 1954, there was the year before Emmett Till was killed. I don't know. I don't want to dampen the mood, but it's funny because when you look at footage from that time, anything, especially in terms of real footage, documentary type footage, everything's in black and white. And sometimes I forget that color existed. Colors always existed, but not until it became, available for TV wise. Yeah, I forget the year color came. But what I'm saying is, everything just looks so much scarier in black and white to me. And color, everything seems so vibrant and I don't know, more realistic that you forget that horrible happened back then.
Well, there's a scene. They're in St. Louis. First of all, is where the opening scene kind of is taking place when he goes when he's trying to sell that milkshake machine. And then, you just see him, and then he ends up going to California. And I'm not jumping ahead, but I want to just get to this part. He's standing in line, and I guess it's a long line, and he's behind this black lady. And he said, and he's kind of jittery because he's kind of that kind of guy. He's kind of, moving, jittering. And she just turns around. She goes, "Don't worry. The line moves fast." And I was thinking about the timeline, 1954. I know we're in LA now at this time. But the reference, I just thought it was different. I mean, what was 1954 LA like? Because they made it in color. So, that's a nice pickup, Aries, actually, because when you do see it in color, you look at everything from the lens of today. When you see it in black and white, you look at it from the lens of yesterday.
Right. And that's why I'm saying back then, when you use the words yesterday, a lot of up evil was happening back then. But it seems like in color, because it feels like that's more today, it almost makes you forget that.
Exactly. And so that's my question. 1954 LA, there's a line of people, not a lot of, I saw two black people at the beginning of that scene. Does she just turn around and look at the white guy and just go, "Oh yeah, the line moves fast, don't worry about it"? I mean, I'm not saying that she didn't. I'm not saying that's not correct. I'm just asking because when you don't put it in black and white, it does have a little, you're right, it has a fluffier, comfortable cotton candy kind of feel, not the harsh reality of how racism was. And we're not in the South. We're not in the South. We're on the West Coast. So we're not probably, it's probably Jim Crow isn't happening. Jim Crow isn't happening. I'm telling you, man, that motorcycle thing always stays in my mind. I always want to go Sam Crow. Jim Crow isn't operated in California, or wasn't exactly the same way as it is in the South. Wasn't as segregated, but there was segregation in California as well. So I just thought that was interesting in that moment because it does try to make it like it's a happier, it's a nicer time, right? It did feel that way. Okay, yeah. So I caught that when I was watching that and was curious. I would like to know, I would like to know that, but they're making a movie about something else, so it's not. But it's really not all about something else either. So keep going because I have some other things as we get into this.
Two quotes that they said in the movie that in the very beginning, and one of which is one I've said all the time, but not like I made it up, but just one that stuck with me because I've heard it over and over. When they said, "The world is full of unsuccessful, talented people." Yeah. And the whole theme was about persistence. And, right. and they show the moment where he's listening to the 45, which is the guy basically doing what a lot of guys do. A lot of people do today. The power of the mind, the power of belief, manifestation,
power,
hard work, positive thought, being persistent. And yeah, that reality of like, damn, the world is full of unsuccessful, talented people. So it just like, it's again, not to say that talent isn't important, but it's not the main ingredient.
It's not the main ingredient. There's more unsuccessful, talented people than there are successful, talented people. You got to remember that always.
And it's hard to want to remember that because I'm so stuck in the belief that if you are extremely talented, not that it's a birthright to success, but to me that feels like that should be the main ingredient, and that's one of the things that I've struggled with because now I got again Chris Rock's voice in my head. It ain't about the jokes, or Jadakiss on the song Why it's a brother up north better than Jordan that ain't get that break.
Well, being that you said that, I want to remind you of this. When you said that, you just said it's say that Chris Rock line again. What is it?
It ain't about the jokes.
Okay. And what do you constantly say on this podcast? How are you supposed to listen to it?
Nah, I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm not gonna let you have that.
No, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna do it because it's very important. It's very important to the podcast.
It's important to people who think it's important because I just read 2 messages on my Instagram and I've read emails where people agree with you and people don't agree with you. Right. So it's important if it's important if you want to make it important.
What's important is that when you give out the dates, people show up to those dates. Otherwise, why do we give out the dates?
But listen, it ain't like we're giving out the dates and let's say we give out the dates and 60% of the attendance are podcast listeners. It's a very small single number percentage.
Right.
So it's not impactful enough to say that that's a proven formula.
It's not impactful enough, but it's all impactful when you put it together. That's why I'm just saying, I've said this to you from the beginning. It's about this format that we have is a window into what we do, and that allows people to connect with us on a level, to know us, and that allows them also to get dates and what we're up to. And when you say to someone, you got to go listen to, I think we're up to you got to go listen to over 600 hours of homework so that you can be with us today. You know, that's a lot to give to someone. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I understand what you're saying, but you put the jokes in front of the business. The business is getting people into the seats.
You listen, I get the gist of it. And in certain other circumstances, I would agree 100%. Not in this one.
Yeah.
If the impact ain't big enough on the financial bottom line, I don't think that makes a difference.
Yeah, you're okay. Then
I do not think that makes a difference.
Let's keep on going then with this founder, and let's see if it makes a difference.
Well,
as we go
no,
through the founder.
don't. I'm not gonna let you be slick with your words and go. Let's see what the founder. The founder, this is a totally different thing. This is a totally different thing.
Okay.
But there may be moments where we go back and forth where I can relate some of that to this, but not all of it.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just giving you the other side. I don't personally, you know me, I don't care either way. I'm just giving the other side because I read the dates and I want people to show up to the show. That's the most important thing to me.
That other quote was just be right one time.
Yeah,
I think he's feeling the dirt.
The
and
dirt,
he said, come on, just be right one time.
That's the persistence of someone that you know who's up over and over and over,
right.
But up for the right reasons, not because they're up, because they bought into the wrong idea and they're still into it, and I love that idea.
As they were showing the humble beginnings of McDonald's, and they were showing the burgers being cooked, and I was like, damn, man, the meat patties look better back then.
A lot better,
more meaty.
A lot better, but that as we get towards the end, we'll talk about that a little bit more too, though. But yeah, because that's the competition. That was the competition level at the time, because the McDonald's brothers came out and they're competing with all the other drive-throughs, walk up the drive-ins, not drive-throughs, drive-ins, and so they're competing. So they have to have a good burger. They have to have a juicy burger. As a matter of fact, when Ray Croc tasted, he says, "This may be the best burger I've ever had."
But then I was thrown off a little bit because when they gave them the tour and they showed them the inner workings of how the burgers are put together, I'm looking at the small little dots of mustard and ketchup and sprinkled on onions and 2 pickles, and I'm going, what makes this the best burger ever? And they didn't even do cheese back then.
No, but it was about the consistency. You could order a cheeseburger. They had it. It was about the consistency that you don't have. And this is what I guess, what I love about the McDonald's brothers when they did this. It wasn't about necessarily the best burger, as he said, but you could come and consistently get that burger. Consistently. No matter what, it was going to be that burger. So if you like that burger, if you enjoyed that burger with that amount of mustard and ketchup and a little bit of onions with the 2 pickles, you were going to get that burger every time. You weren't going to get one that had too much pickle. You weren't going to get one too. If that's the burger you liked, and this is what the important part is in business, is don't try to, and people, this is where I think people get very confused, especially in the restaurant business. Been in it a long time. People try to make everyone happy. And because that's the idea in business, right? Make everyone happy. You can't make everyone happy. You have to make your customers happy, and they will bring you more customers. And if they're similar and the same, they will generate more customers. I had this one guy who was working with me and worked for me, and we had limes. We'd make limes. We'd make a salsa. So about once a week, we'd get these limes. Twice a week, we'd get limes. They make it about twice a week, the salsa. Salsa tastes better when it mixes. It gets all the pieces in there, and you can taste all the flavors. So we'd make it about once or twice a week, and we have limes on that time. But the limes were for the salsa. They weren't for the public. But this one guy always wanted limes with something. I forgot what he wanted limes with. And I always said, no, we don't have limes, because we really don't. They weren't always back there. And so I said, all the servers knew we don't have limes. And then one morning, the guy goes, hey, man, you have any limes? We already told him for months, we don't have limes. He loved our food, but he wanted a lime. So there's a couple options in this process. I can go and say, well, he comes here once a week. I'm going to get him limes when he comes in. Or I could say, we just don't have limes. I chose we don't have limes. And the reason why is consistency. Be consistent. Be always consistent. And when he came in, that guy goes, I think we do have some limes. I saw some in the back. So he ran back there, cut him up some limes, gave him limes, and made him happy. He came over to me, goes, hey, wasn't that great? We had those limes, and I cut him up for him. I go, yeah, but now what's going to happen when he comes in next week, and he asks for it, and there's no limes? And you're not the server. You could say to him, well, I went back last time, I got them for you, and we don't have any this week. And he would go, okay. But if it's another server, they're going to go, no, man, last week I was here, and so got me limes. And he's going to be mad, because he wants what he got last time. Consistency is so important in that business. And what the genius of the McDonald's brothers wasn't telling people, I want you to go like this with the swirl. He made it so that you had no other way of doing it. You pushed that handle, and those dots came on. You pushed the handle, and the mustard came on. The only thing that had some kind of is the little bit of onions, but 2 pickles. He didn't say what size the pickles were or anything. It's just like 2 pickles, and you threw them on. That was it. So the consistency is what made the customers want that McDonald's burger.
So what happens to the saying, hey, the customer is always right? And if it's okay for the business to be consistent, shouldn't the customer be rewarded for their consistency on constantly coming there and helping to add money to your business? And isn't he always right?
You're right. But the way to make him wrong, the way to make you wrong, is if he comes in every week, he wants a lime. You can easily get a lime. You can run to the store, you can grab a lime. But it's not something that's on the menu, it's not necessary. As soon as you get him that lime, now you're wrong for not having it all the time, because now it's an expectation. The customer every business has a certain level, a right to rise to a certain expectation. When I worked at another restaurant, we had a restaurant where there was a very high-end store that was behind us, and we were kind of a middle-tier store. And people would come in all the time going, well, I can get this over there. Okay. Yeah, you can get that over there, but your meal over there, and this is what would happen a lot of times. People would come in for our happy hour, take advantage of our drink prices, our happy hour food, and then go to the expensive place and then order less stuff on a regular menu because it was expensive, but they wanted to hang out at the expensive, nice place. If you're a business and you're in a restaurant, you have to compete on the level that you can compete in. I can't compete with a high-end restaurant I can compete service-wise, but I can't compete food-wise. So what I mean by that is I can't even compete service-wise. I don't have multiple people that come to your table. I might have a busser, a server, and a food runner. If you go to the high-end places, they have multiple people that come over your tables. They have people just to fill up your drink. They have people to bust the table. They have the servers. They have the food. They have multiple people that come over your table. They have the maitre d' that checks on you. They have more people. They can do more things. You have to fight at your weight class, and that's how you have to look at your business. So, and that's what you want. You got to fight at your weight class. You can't fight it at another weight class.
Look, I know I get repetitive, but to the people that listen to the podcast, I'm sorry if I'm just bringing up a talking point you've heard before, but I'm doing this because I've noticed this so many times in movies in situations where here's this guy in Ray Croc trying to be this entrepreneur, trying to build $1 billion empire. And with like any guy that's out there trying to bust his ass to build an empire and put himself and the people that he loves and that are around him in a position to live like kings and queens and want for nothing and be better off than the average man, I always notice that there's a woman that are with them and they want that man to give them the world and everything in it, but they don't have the patience to make the necessary sacrifices that it takes to get it done. They grow impatient and complain. A la Laura Dern's character as his wife. In the words of the late, great DMX, what you want from a like, God damn, y'all want the world, y'all want everything in it, You want the best of everything, but women are not willing. And what's interesting about this, as I say this, later on, he divorces Laura Dern and basically grabs the wife of one of his investors in the Minnesota location. And that dirty, but is she? I can't wait to get back to that, because that's such a half empty, half full glass situation. But let me stick with Laura. What do y'all want, ladies? Like, you want everything, but to get what you want, it takes sacrifice. It takes things that it seems like women don't have the patience or the ability to stick by a man with.
But there's something that you didn't see there. She comes from money. She had the money. She's bailed him out. She says it to him. When he says something about the money,
but
she goes,
coming from money and knowing how to build the money, two different things.
Yep, but she came from money. She's helped him out. There's a reference in the beginning where he says something about the money, and she goes, I forgot how she says it, but something about the money where you know that the money is hers. Yeah, he built the nice house, he pays bills, but the money, there was money coming from her, from on her end. So the question that I have, and I don't know Ray Croc's story. I know his story from McDonald's is all I know him from. Did he have the opportunity, or was there other opportunities for him and the family that he could have had an easier path, never to become the Ray Croc he became, but an easier path to be a businessman, to make money, to work for an established company? Because obviously she came from money. Her parents had something, and that's not where this is coming from. That's why she wants to go to the club, and she wants to see all her old friends, and he can't stand them. And I love the fact that he can't stand them. I love the fact, and it builds up so much more into the movie, that they kind of made fun of him for his ideas and trying to find something new in the future, see the future and be ready for it.
Well, to answer your question, I'm sorry, but to answer your question, kudos to him for not wanting to go, I'm just going to, ride the coattails of my wife/woman's background. No, he did what men should do. Motherfucking carve your own niche.
But if you're going to get someone like that, if you marry into something like that, they may want you to be home more. They may not want you to be on the road for 3 weeks selling milkshake machines. I'm just saying. I agree with you. As a man, you want to set out and form your own path. But if you're marrying into something like that, the path is kind of laid out for you. You got to understand what you're getting into too. And as nice as she could have been, he had a different personality. I love when she says that. He says, man, when I don't want to get into it right now because it'll come up later when he starts to franchise, and we'll get to it then. But there's a moment where he says something about the idea of a husband and wife building something together. That was what. Yeah, teammates. That was what was beautiful to him. Real quick, because you already brought it up, but I want to just say it. I love that when you brought up the positive thinking. Everybody thinks that there's this new age kind of thing. This has been going on since obviously before 1954. And the thing is, once he finds that he wants to go out and see the McDonald's brothers, I love this scene where he's sitting on his car and he takes a little hit of the whiskey before he drives out from St. Louis to California. I think back in 1954, you were allowed to have a little bit of drink on your long drive. You weren't held to the same accountability. I wonder if making that movie today, if they still would have made that scene that way. I guess they would have because of the time period. But it was just funny because it's just like, yeah, let's do a little drinking and driving, but cross country drinking and driving.
Well, the cars were made better then too. So if you got in an accident, you could survive it.
Yeah, you're going to bounce around in the car. And so that's the time when he decides. I just want to say this so that we keep the movie going. He gets a call that these McDonald's wants 2 of these machines that hold 6 spinners on.
No, they wanted 6. They wanted 6.
Oh yeah, 6 machines. Yeah, so that's 36 spinners. That's mean they can make 36 milkshakes at one time, and he thinks it's a mistake. So when they talk to him, he says, no, and when can you have him here? And the people, they don't even want to talk to him because you can hear how busy they are. And he gets this idea. He goes, they really want 6 of these. I need to see what this is.
But before that, contextually, he thought he said 6, but then they said make it 8.
He 8, yeah.
Yeah.
So he really knows there's something going on here, and he wants to know what it is. And that's a little bit of that. He missed a lot in his businesses. The kitchenette, the kitchen thing that was fit into the wall or whatever that they talk about. There's a few. He's had some flops in business, but he was looking for it. He was looking for something that popped up, and he was searching for it, smelling for it. He's the businessman. He's not the guy that's developing it, but he's the businessman. He's looking for something, and I loved it. I love that idea that he lives in Chicago. He's in St. Louis, and he looks on that map, and you see how far away it is, and he's like, "Nope, that's what I'm doing." And he drives out to California to see this McDonald's. That's the difference between someone who's actively wanting something and someone who's thinking about wanting something.
Yeah, not the persistence. It's the the persistence. Just sidebar note, because I was just watching last night in bed Jurassic Park Dominion, and Laura Dern was in the original Jurassic Park, and she's in that one, and of course Michael Keaton, Batman. And I just white people, y'all age so horrendously. I mean, when y'all are young, y'all are like dry tissue paper, and when you age, you turn into wet tissue paper. I mean, just the two of them. I remember the beautiful youthful skin. It's horrific.
That's a note that I have in here, that neither Michael Keaton nor Laura Dern has aged very well.
Oh.
But I'm going to be honest. I know that you saw her in Jurassic Park, but she already looked like an older woman in Jurassic Park, and she was younger.
Son. That skin was
was
tight.
I never looked at Laura Dern and went, "That's hot." Never in my whole life.
I didn't say hot. I said tight. The skin was tight.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. She aged, but it was never good. I shouldn't say that, and that makes me an asshole, but it wasn't. I was never attracted to the Laura Dern look. How's that sound? That wasn't the look
that's and so I don't sound like an asshole. I'm not saying she wasn't hot. I thought she was cute, but I'm just talking about basically the skin. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but you saw Michael Keaton in the latest Flash too, and listen. I think Michael Keaton is one of the greatest guys out there who's been in movies. That part that he played as the founder, I thought was awesome. There's no Michael Keatons in there. It's no Michael Keaton-isms. It's he's playing a character. I saw him in so many movies that I really like of Michael Keaton, but he looks like he spends all his day out on a boat, and then he comes in and does movies. He really does. He's had some sun, man.
Here's my question again. As you look at things from both being in the food service industry, also business, and this is when he calls them about, hey, the cost of keeping this ice cream cold, the electrical cost, and blah blah blah. To cut costs down. Let me introduce you to what the woman who eventually marries that he takes from the guy. Powdered shakes. It's powder. Put it in water, stir it. And I just go, at what point do you let the cost of doing business, in order to be financially successful, allow you to dilute your product for the sake of the product's success? Real milkshake versus powdered milkshakes.
Well, you also have to remember what the time is. It's 54, so now we're in 60s, right? About 60s when at this point.
Almost, yeah, I guess.
We're in a different period in America. Remember now, I got to put this for you, and then we got to go back to the McDonald's brothers, because this doesn't get discussed in this. And I love how they made the movie, but they miss a lot of nuance in it. That was the time of space exploration. This is where we're starting to get into space. Cars are trying to look futuristic. That's when they have the galaxy. All of a sudden, we have these things called TV dinners, where they're making, that's supposed to be kind of the future. You put it in and you take the foil off, and boom, it's a dinner. And now we have more canning available, so that people are getting used to buying something not fresh, but in a can, because everything was about this new way that we were doing things in the world, but especially in America. We had all this new stuff, and the technology was booming, and they were going to do it different ways. So to have something, and don't forget the product Tang, which was like an orange juice. was a very popular product at the time. You put that in water, you stirred it around.
That's my childhood, baby.
Because, but that was it was the future. We didn't see it as what it was. That they were looking at how we were going to do compact stuff for the future. So there was a move towards this. And in the movie, they made it, and they made the McDonald's brothers. They want to make Ray Kroc look how we just said it. He's all only for the dollar. He also recognized that, yes, it was costing them a lot of money, and it was hard on the franchisees. He wasn't going to make more money because the franchisees were going to switch this product. He could, because he was probably getting a little, he was selling the way the franchisee works. He was probably getting money back for using that product. But the thing is, that was the idea, that you could make something like this. And if the taste was close and you could sell it as this futuristic thing, and milkshakes now were fast and quick and the public enjoyed them, what was the harm? And the McDonald brother was like, hey, I'm not going down this capitalistic road that you want to go on. We want the best burger joint in the world. We want to have good hamburgers. We want to have, he was fighting over when you first see the McDonald's brothers, they're fighting over how crispy the fries should be. Should it be at what temperature and how many seconds? And they were they were trying to raise it by plus or minus 25 degrees temperature. And what was it? 5 to 3 seconds or something like that. It was a very small amount of, So he's trying to make oh man, who is the guy that's playing that McDonald's brother? He's a famous guy. Damn. I gotta, because I love how he plays the character. I gotta grab his name real quick. I'll grab it. It's right here. I got it right here. I got it. I swear I got it. It is Nick Offerman, the guy playing that brother. He plays it almost just a tad short of almost autistic, the way that he is only focused on the business. Only when he gets mad do you see an emotional character come out. Otherwise, it's no. He has it in his mind that he wants the best burger that he can make consistently, and then the best products. He doesn't even want he doesn't want McDonald's. He doesn't want Ray Kroc to do a deal with Coke to do signage, because he doesn't want it to be about other products other than this burger. He doesn't want Coca-Cola on the sign, which is something that McDonald's is known for today, is that they're the number one, like the number one Coke user, I guess. It sounds funny when you say Coke user, but they spend money on Coke, and they have a secret recipe that's slightly different than everybody else's Coke, where it's slightly turned up a little bit higher on the syrup, and they'll deny it, but it's true, and people have said it, and it is true. So, but that's Nick Offerman's character. The McDonald's brother does not want anything besides the best that he can possibly provide for his customer, for his consumer, for the person coming over there. And when we go back to what you said about, shouldn't you always make the customer right? Customer isn't always right, because you have to do the best you can for the consumer if that's the business that you want to make. So this is where all these things get gray, and you got to decide which one is the right one for your business. Ray Kroc was trying to make a lot of different McDonald's. So the way to do that is to help them out so that they can make more money. McDonald's was looking at one unit and what was the best for the one unit. He already had that built into his cost. So yes, you got to decide, but that's a moment that they're not talking about the other part of time and where we were at that time. We were in a space age kind of time.
But ironically enough, at the end of the movie, when they do the whole chyron about what happened in the future, they return back to put milk in the milkshakes.
Because it doesn't taste the same. It doesn't. Have you ever had, I grew up on those McDonald's. In the 70s, we still had those powdered milkshake machines. I was still getting that as a kid. So I grew up on those, and they tasted like they tasted different, but it was what you had, but it wasn't the same as a great milkshake. And half the time the milkshake machine isn't working at McDonald's today anyway. So, because there was a McDonald's by my house, and I'd still take my kids for a milkshake there every now and then.
Explain this to me, because I've heard this before in regards to McDonald's. I just didn't know that they put it in the movie. Explain to me, you're not in the burger business, you're in the real estate business.
Okay, this is the moment where everything changes. And this is the moment where Ray Kroc becomes Ray Kroc. Up until this time, Ray Kroc is focused on being in the burger business. That's what he's selling, but that is not what his business was. And it took someone very keen to realize what his business was. And that's the person that's really the most savvy person in the movie. If you are leading the franchise organization, and this is how most franchises do it now, they buy the property that they want at McDonald's, and people are on a list or waiting list. If you have, and he talks about this, people are waiting now to get McDonald's from me. Now I'm on the list. I don't need, he tells his wife at the time who was bringing another rich person, a rich couple in to get another McDonald's. And he hated those couples. We need to talk about that real quick. He hated those couples because they didn't want to work. They just wanted a place to park their money and do whatever they wanted to do. He wanted people that understood what they were doing and were going to come to work every day and be that team that he talked about, that his wife wasn't part of his team. And she came back with this another couple, and he said, no, he didn't want to do that. And that's before this happens. And he realizes when that guy says, you're not in the burger business, you're in the real estate burger business. If people are coming to you and they want this location, you've already done the research to find out where the best location is for the next McDonald's. This is why very few McDonald's go out of business, because they already do the research. They look at the traffic in the area. McDonald's has been doing this longer than most. But they didn't have as much technology back then, but they would go and they would do traffic study. They would see where the next burger place that they wanted to open. If it was my money, where would I go open? Find the best location in the cities, buy that land. If you buy, and then you rent the land to the people. So you're getting money. You're basically making a permanent resident on your property that you can now charge rent. So you're only making 4%, and you make more, they make more than that now, but you're only making 4%. The franchisee was only going to make the 4% of, I think they took 5 total because they were supposed to get 1%, the other guys. So you get 5% of their total business, and someone else is making the money off the land that they're on. If you own the land, now you have the value of the land. So let's say you had, back then that was probably $50,000 would have been high for a business property. And you charge them, so you own the land. You can take out a loan on that land, and now you could do all kinds of things with your money, so you can buy more land, sell more McDonald's, and they're paying the rent. They're basically paying, the land lease is paying for the ownership of the land that Ray's now owning. I own the land. You're paying me for this franchise, and you're paying for my land. So I'm going to develop this land with a secure company on top of it. I know it's secure because it's my business, and I'm approving you, so I know that this is going to do well. And if you don't do what I say you're going to do, I'm going to take away your lease, and now you can't own that McDonald's. He's in charge of everything because he owns the property that the McDonald's sits on, and now he's making money off the land. And as he buys each property, he now has access to more money, because the reason he couldn't keep going and the reason he was almost going broke, and that's when she finds out that he's put the house up on mortgage, is because he doesn't have the cash flow. It's about the cash flow. Once you own the property, you have built-in cash flow. So he was actually, this is the first company that realized, the first franchise that realized that they were in the real estate business. They were not in the burger business, not the franchise side. The burger side was. But if you can build a business that that people will put, if you can build a business that you can sell to someone that they'll give you money for, and you own the property that they're going to do it on, you're making money both ways. You can't stop making money.
And why does that always sound easier than it is?
You have to have a reason. You have to have something that people want. They want the burger business. You have to have something that they want.
When you say the people, you're talking about the consumer. A lot of the burgers.
Well, the reason that the money wants the burger place is they can make money off the consumer. So you have to have demand for the product. Once you have demand for the product, people want to get your product and they want to be in business with you. So this is the business you're allowing them to have. You know, like there's a like Subway. Subway's a great example because it's an easy one because it's newer. There's a thing called the Doctors Group. They're the biggest group of these of the Subway owners. They make all this money because they own all these Subways, but it was a doctors group, and they wanted to put their money in something other than being a doctor to grow their money, and so that's one of the groups that did it. But
right.
Ray, so but they had to have demand. Subway had to be something for them to want to put their money into this group. So you have to establish the small business so that you can maximize your money on the big business. And the big business was the real estate.
But Michael, and I gotta say, and you had alluded to this earlier, but I wanted to wait till we got further down the line. Whether I thought his performance as Vulture in the Spider-Man movie, what was the name of that one? Homecoming, was amazing. Not as the Vulture, but that scene particularly with him and Tom Holland when he's dropping his daughter off at the prom, and he discovers when he's a dad and he discovers he's Spider-Man. And then I look at his performance in this, and Michael Keaton knows how to play shrewd like when he says to the guy, one of the McDonald's brothers, if my competitor was drowning, I'd walk over and put a hose in his mouth. And he asks the guy, is that something you could do? And he goes, no, I couldn't. And I wouldn't even want to. I don't even think that I would want to. And I just went, when you look at once he meets the guy who basically tells him, hey, you're not in the burger business, you're in the real estate business. And those two start to collaborate and come together. The level of shrewd, cutthroat, business-like maneuvers that Michael Keaton as Ray Croc makes, I'm just going, dude, this really shows how when it comes to big business, big fish eat little fish, man.
This is where I said this will get racial, because this is the thing where we talk about a lot where, white people over black people. That's in business. We hear that. We talked about it, and people have stole this and taken this from. This is what it is, man. This is part of capitalism, man. The big fish are going to eat the little fish. It doesn't make a difference. That's what I was trying to say, and I've said this to you before, and I know you agree sometimes, but you disagree mainly. They're feeding. They're sharks.
I know, but Andy, here's why I have a problem with you. When you go, it doesn't make a difference. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but it does make a little bit of a difference, because more have been fucked outside it. That's like when we saw that great movie, the one about Anthony Mackie and Sam Jackson in the real estate game.
Yep.
And they showed you, look at all the amount of hurdles they had to get through from a racist standpoint. So I know what you're saying about in business, big fish eat little fish regardless. But more Popeyes get eaten in worse ways than the McDonald brothers.
There are more hurdles to jump over, and on those jumps, if you jump high enough, there's a big fish on the top of the water that may just eat you. And
okay, but the key thing you just said is there are more.
Yes.
You can't leave that part out. You make it sound like it's equal. It's not.
There's nothing equal about it. It's about, and this is where we get into a different discussion. This is where we get into the money discussion and the levels of money. Money is working with money. So if you have money, you can work with other people with money. If you don't have the money, and if you don't have that heart, where he said, this is okay. Let me get to this part, and then we can go back to this, because I don't want this to take up all our time about this. This is the thing. When you said this is what I said. I wrote down in my notes: business is war. When he said that about putting the hose in, and the other guy goes, "Would I do that?" He goes, "I don't even think I would want to do that, right?" And you said at the beginning of this, Ray Croc took McDonald's from the McDonald's brothers. Ray Croc made McDonald's. McDonald's was going to be that one stand, maybe two, because there's two brothers, that they would have went and did another restaurant on their own. It wouldn't have been McDonald's. Ray Croc is McDonald's. The idea to build that perfect restaurant, that's McDonald's brothers. To build the big business, that's Ray Croc. We don't have McDonald's. That little scene where he's saying, I see a flag, a church, and these golden arches in every city. They never saw that. That wasn't part of what they wanted. That wasn't ever going to happen. McDonald's, at best, would have been In-N-Out Burger at best, because the In-N-Out Burger took the same approach that the McDonald's brothers were. We want consistency. We want it to be done. We don't want to work with other people because every time we get someone, they f up our business. They're ruining our burger, our name. The other problem, though, when you say this, when I said what I just said, he built this business, but Ray Croc realized that he could corner that real estate market. Then he realized something else, and this is what they don't talk about in this movie. They could have made Ray Croc, they could have done more about what Ray Croc has done. McDonald's, once it got big enough, they cornered the meat market. They've cornered, when I say meat, the beef. They cornered the pork market. McDonald's changed the price of pork belly every time they would come up with a new, when the McRib was going to come out. Every single time they would change the price of pork. That kind of control. They changed the way that we farm our food now because they wanted a certain type of beef. And this is why you said that patty looked good. Ray Croc didn't care if it looked good. He wanted consistency. This is where the balance comes in. You want to be consistent, but you wanted it to be good. When I was in France, I had a burger at McDonald's. Different tasting burger, different patty structure, but it still fit the mold, but it was a different taste. The beef was different. Our burger is going to be the same all the time, same size, same patty, and he controls that. McDonald's controls our meat prices in this country. Ray Croc realized that if you can corner one market, you can corner another. And he used McDonald's to control all these markets. Potatoes have to be grown a special way. He owns the rights to the potatoes on certain farms. They have to plant these potatoes and they have to do them certain ways. All the French fries for McDonald's. It's a different kind of business. When you go to McDonald's, you are eating a burger, but the business behind it controls so much more of your life than the burger does. It's affected you when you go to the market. And that's the problem when you get businesses so big that they affect every aspect of our lives. So, but this McDonald's doesn't happen. McDonald's is not McDonald's. So he took their product, but they weren't going to do with it what he did. There was never going to be a McDonald's in every city. So which one did you want?
You asking me?
Yeah. I mean, are you comfortable with McDonald's in every city? Should we have ever had franchises like this?
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
listen, I'm all for the building of the empire and being as rich as you can get and as successful as you can.
But it's going to hurt somebody when you build the empire.
Hey, listen, I as shrewd as it was, if that's what you want, if those are your aspirations and dreams, you do what you got to do.
Okay, but what did they want when they were selling the McDonald's to Ray Croc? He f***ed them out of the 1%. That's all they asked for, and he f***ed them out of the store. And what did the guys want the store for? What did you hear what he said?
Well, for the royalty points.
Well, no, he wanted the one store that they had. He wanted to give it to the staff. The McDonald's brothers wanted
yes.
So that they always had a job and they had money that they could make, and because they were loyal and they helped build it. Ray Croc didn't give a f- about the person on the ground floor.
Listen. When you go to the last Chiron, and it said that, remember when he made the deal with them to sell to basically sell it, he on a handshake about the royalty. He said, let's shake on it. And then they said that the handshake didn't mean, and the two McDonald's brothers lost out on hundreds of millions in royalties. And then that's when I went, this cocksucker.
Yeah. Now that's the move, but this is the shrewd part of the move, and this is why some people make it and some people earn a living. You should have never shaken hands on that. You should have canceled the deal. You should have just.
And they had a lawyer with them representing them. Why wouldn't their lawyer tell them that? That
lawyer should lose his license. There's no handshake deal. You need representation. He had the best representation, but he kind of said this, and this is where they were at. Yes, you can sue me, and you will win. I mean, Ray Croc said it to you, you will win, but you're never going to get to court. I'm going to tie you up so much and cost you all your money that you'll never get to court. So this is the other part where business gets so big that the little guy has to go along with the big guy, because if he doesn't, the big guy will just drive him out of business and take what he has.
In that moment in the bathroom when they had that exchange, he goes, McDonald's belongs to me, Ray Croc says to one of the McDonald's brothers. And he goes, no, it doesn't. He's basically saying it still belongs to me. And then he goes, Michael Keaton, you really think that's true? Gives him a little asshole wink and then leaves. See, that's the moment where the other guy from McDonald's should have pulled out a gun and shot him in the face. Like, nah, nigga, it doesn't belong to you. And I'm not saying he literally should have done that.
No, I know what you're saying.
But you get the feeling like, Jesus, man, like the only way it could belong to McDonald's brothers if he did that. Because when he said, yo, I'll take you to court, and by the time I get done, blah, 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 everything you just said, how much more can you rub it in that space that, yo, I'm taking everything that was yours?
He went, once he got a hold of McDonald's and he was starting to operate, he wasn't going to give up any. He said to his wife, I would rather burn it all. What did he say? Burn it all down than give her one dime for McDonald's.
One piece of the share.
Yeah,
of a stock.
It was nothing. He was controlling it all. He wasn't giving anything back. But this goes back again to how he was looked at by other rich people. Those other rich people at the club, remember the club, and they're all making fun of him because he was trying to become rich.
Right.
And you know, America's changed, but at a time there was people that had money and then didn't have money. That was it. You had two choices. It was hard to come up. It was really hard to come up. You know, so these people had money. They probably lived a lot more lavish lifestyle without ever really working. It was probably family money. And they just looked at him as like, why? Like almost as a joke. Why would she marry this guy? This is what she, and they were laughing at him. The dinette, I forgot, the pull-out dinette or something. It looks like, I don't know what it was, but just making fun of him for being that guy, because he kept, I have something for you. And then the guy gets it, and he does sell them two of them, and both of them up the product. So, you know, everything that the McDonald's brothers said was true. You can't just give it to everybody, but he learned who you could give it to. I love that part where he sees the guy selling the Bible, the Jewish guy selling the Bible. He goes, what's a Jew? I love how he talked to you. What's a Jew selling Bibles?
Right.
He's trying to earn a living. And he goes, okay. That's when he realized, I got to find people like me who want it and are willing to work for it and put every effort into it, not people like them who already have it. He needed them because they had the money, but he realized they weren't going to build that business. Ray Croc was very smart, man, but big business, huge corporations, it's scary because you look at what they can do, and that's what they didn't go into in this. Look at how much effect McDonald's has over your life. You don't even realize it, but it has an effect over your life. And it's more than real estate, man. It got so big and it's so huge. It feeds, in the movie, it said it feeds 1% of the world every day. It's probably more than that now. And the amount, it was over, I think it was 40,000 stores. They're over 40. I don't know what it is today. It's over 40. I know it's almost 50,000 stores. And the reason I bring this up is because I said that their business model that the McDonald's brothers wanted to build was closer to what In-N-Out's done. In-N-Out was I think started a year before them or the same year. I'm not sure, but it's about the same time, within a year. In-N-Out Burger has 400 stores.
Really? That's it?
That's it.
Damn.
So that's what I'm saying. Ray Croc, everything that you want to be mad at him about, what he's done, but you don't get McDonald's. At best, you get In-N-Out Burger. At best, and maybe not that. Maybe because these guys.
And if we're being honest, In-N-Out is a little bit tastier than McDonald's.
It is because they were able to keep their consistency because it was them who did it. They never went the other way. The Nick Offerman character wanted something that, and this is the difference when you're in business and when you're in business and when you own a restaurant. You own a restaurant, it represents you. That's who you are. His name was on it, McDonald's. They were the McDonald's brothers. They wanted something that represented them. When you're in business, you look at your bank account. You have to decide, and then you have to decide if there's a balance. And when I say this about people taking advantage of people and not taking advantage of people, advantage and disadvantage is all relative. The McDonald's brothers did get basically $3 million. At that time, that was a boatload of money. So they had money. They just didn't have their business anymore. He ripped them off on the back end where they weren't going to get money for the work that Ray Croc had felt like he was doing, that he wasn't going to give him anything. So he ripped them off on that. But they got paid. The guy who owned Victoria's Secrets, who came up with Victoria's Secrets, he sold it for $5 million. Sold it for $5 million. Killed himself later because it was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm not saying that that's why he killed himself, but that's what people have said, that, he was depressed because he gave away like his great business idea, but he didn't know how to take it to that next level. So a great business idea that you may be the one that made it, but if you don't have the ability to take it to that next level, it isn't the greatest business idea. It's a great idea, but it's nothing that will perform. How do you put it out there? How are you mad at someone that saw your business idea that you couldn't do, bought it from you, gave you money for it, and took it to another level? And now you're looking at what you didn't get. The truth is they got paid. They got $1 million, just $1.3 million, I think, each. At that time,
I think it was 2.7.
2.7. Okay, so almost $2 million a piece. Or almost $1.5 million. Yeah. 2.73 million. Yeah, no, $1 million and a little over $1.5 million each, because each brother got split it. So, is it? I don't know that they would ever made $1 million. They might have made it in their lifetime. They got it right then. I'm not saying that Ray Croc wasn't shady and he could, he definitely should have. I think they definitely deserved that 1%. But you don't get McDonald's without Ray Croc. You get the McDonald's brothers, and you get that. You get to go to San Bernardino to check out the best burger place ever. And people were going to steal that idea. Eventually, a corporation was going to come around and steal the speedy service idea, the speedy whatever they called that.
Right. Now, here's my last note. And to all the women that listen to this podcast, I love you, but women ain't shit. The fact that this dude sat in the booth with it when he was, I think he was in Chicago, one of the locations. I think it was Minnesota. And the guy who wanted to be in charge of one of the restaurants or wanted to buy into one of the franchises, his wife is playing piano, and he sees Keaton. I keep calling Keaton, but Ray Croc. But Keaton looking at his wife, and he goes, "You want to meet her?" And she comes over, and you could see the vibe where ultimately she went for the power play. She saw where Ray was going, and I'm like, "You married?" And then cut to, they had the late night phone conversations. She introduces him to the idea for the powdered milkshakes. He then goes ahead and does it. And towards the end of the movie, when they show him drive in his Rolls Royce to his now Beverly Hills estate, and he's working on his speech in the mirror, here she comes over his shoulder, and he marries her. Now, this is the part where I just went, man, yo, bitches ain't shit. But at the same time, what they did establish was that Laura Dern's character really didn't believe in him that much. She wasn't being the teammate that he needed, whereas this woman was matching his energy. She was trying to help him get to a certain level by going to powdered milkshakes, cut down on electrical costs. So it seemed like their energies and their purposes together matched.
Yeah. So
that's why I'm going glass half full, half empty. Because while I'm mad at her, but like, bitch, you married. You got a husband. And you meet this, and you immediately give him vibes that you want to with him. But at the same time, I'm like, if what he was doing with Laura Dern wasn't working anymore, and this is the woman that matched his energy and his purpose, can you really be mad? And I just thought that scene was so cold with him and Laura Dern eating silently at the table. He just goes, I want a divorce. And you could see where she was crushed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
But see, there's more to that. Those scenes, though. I love those scenes. I love them because I love that. First of all, he sees her and he doesn't know that it's this guy. This guy. He comes over to meet this to have dinner with.
Yes, he doesn't know it's his wife.
Yeah, and the guy owns a good steak restaurant out in wherever they're at. I think it's in Illinois. So they're eating, and he's like checking with him, is steak good? Yeah, and then he's talking to him about saying that he wants to have a McDonald's out there as well. And obviously he has a work ethic. He has this beautiful restaurant. So, Ray Croc knows he's one of the right guys, but he's looking at this woman playing this piano and he can't stop looking at her. And that's when he says, come over. Then he introduces his wife. So I think there's a lot here, though, that gets said. And this is part of it. This is how it gets done. He was attracted to her before he knew it was his wife. They didn't make him a scoundrel that way. Like they could have made him a scoundrel like, oh, I knew it was his wife and I was.
But is it the guy's fault for introducing him to her?
No, because this is how it works out. He comes over and he sees her. He falls doubly in love with her once he sees that this guy has this great partner. That's what he was looking for. Not only was she a great partner, no one knows it's his wife until he says that. Maybe the people that know him, but he didn't know. It wasn't like, oh, my wife is the piano player. She's just over there playing piano. She's doing her part to enhance the business. She's that team member that he's talking about. And then as it progresses and she brings out these vanilla things, he sees her as someone who was like not just a partner who's going to be there rah-rah, but like an integral partner, someone who's going to see things. And she starts to see him as my husband, the guy I'm married to. He's content with these restaurants. Ray Kroc doesn't want to do a restaurant. He wants to do an empire.
But her husband was saying he had interest in being a part. He wanted a McDonald's franchise.
If he would have said, I'm going to tell you the difference. And this is women are cold and they're smart though. They are smart. This is the smart part. He wanted a franchise. If he would have said, I want to figure out how to be a partner with Ray Kroc and McDonald's, I want to figure out how to get in there and be a partner. She would have figured out how to get him to be a partner in McDonald's.
Because he didn't say the right thing. She jumped it. Not jump ship, jumped it.
Because it's not that he didn't say the right thing. He couldn't see it the right way. She saw it the right way.
Wow.
That's women, dude. When you get a woman who knows there's, it's very.
So fuck the vows, which you are about to take. You and Tara about to take vow.
Yeah.
So when y'all get married and the preacher is talking and doing the vows, you should say to Tara, "Hey, bitch, you sure? You hear this, right? Don't you pull up on Ray Kroc, bitch."
Listen, you know what? It's funny because as people, this is when they say we just grew apart. He had a ceiling. She didn't have the same ceiling. I'm not saying that she was right. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just saying that's what happened. You could see it plainly.
This is why I blame, a big part of me blames the husband. Because when he saw the way that they were in the middle of talking business, but when he saw that Ray's gaze was fixed on her and he wasn't really paying attention, he goes, you want to meet her? And this is why in that new joke where I go, white dudes are very loose with their women. No black man is seeing another nigga gaze at his woman and goes, let me make an introduction. He's going to go to that other man. Hey, what you looking at? Fix your face.
Well, I think that was part of his beginning was, he sees her looking at her and goes, do you want to meet her? And then he says, that's my wife. I think that was his way of saying, hello, Mr. Kroc.
So
no, that's my wife. What happened afterwards? He didn't stand up for his wife. He should have said, hey, business is business. I want to be in business with you. My wife is my wife. He should have said something because obviously he needed to say something. But I just lost you.
No, somebody just tried to call me just now.
Oh. So that's the deal. They obviously it wasn't the right one for him either, for the husband. We don't know what he did.
Yeah, just don't play them games.
I would like to see what he did.
That new joke I'm doing, that's why it kills. It's based on, like I said, you can't even compliment a black man respectfully to him about his woman.
Yep.
Nah, we don't play them games, B. What you fuck wrong with your face? What you looking at?
But yeah, excellent movie. I thought it was excellent. The way they didn't make him, they made him, they showed it honestly, I think, enough honesty in it so that you saw who he was, Ray Croc. And you got to, and instead of making him just a bad guy, which would have been an easy thing to do, they kind of showed you what the nature of business is and how hard.
But does the cold, calculated, shrewd behavior make you a bad guy? Or you just dismiss that as, hey man, it's business?
Again, we said this on the podcast. People see the roadmap to success and they'll jump on that roadmap because they know that it's a proven roadmap to take you to a successful place. And if that means you have to take people, basically the joy of life out of someone so that you can be successful, that's what they'll do. That's why I'm saying not everyone is built to be a billionaire. They're not. You're not. I'm not. I am not. I can honestly say, looking at you right here, I can see your face. I'm looking right at your eyes, and I can say, Aries, I'm not built to be a billionaire in that type of way. I could not. I care so much for the McDonald's brothers when he said, but we get to keep our store. I'm giving that to the staff. He was about the people. He was about, sharing some of what his windfall was. And Ray Croc was like, I'm not giving 0.5% to nobody. Nobody. He was going to keep every little bit of it. And which one, if there's a happy medium, I'll take that. But I couldn't be that guy.
Do you see how people that are noble and for the people and try to do everything ethically right are the ones who get screwed? Yes. Ali was always about the people. Lost 3 years of his boxing career in his prime because he didn't want to go kill innocent people that never called him. Bob Marley was for the people. Then got a toe infection that took him out early.
Well, that came from God then.
Huh?
God took him out then because that was cancer.
Whatever. It just seems like the people that are about the people and nobility and good, something them over, but the assholes live on. Donald Trump and George Zimmerman have entered the chat.
Dude, it's like that stupid joke, and it's a long joke, so I'm gonna make it quick. But it's about the guys on the beach fishing, and he goes and he sees them, and he goes, and they're eating fish. These rich billionaires are on vacation eating this fish, and they go, "Where's that fish come from?" They point to these guys that are sitting on the beach drinking beer with their little pole in the water, and they're like, you guys fish this? He goes, yeah, we get in our boats every morning. We go out and we fish. And he goes, man, you got to stop doing that, man. You got to do it a different way. You got to fish all day, all night. We get some new boats. We're going to buy you boats. We're going to get you a bunch of boats. You're going to go out. You're going to fish all day. You're going to fish all night. We're going to get a big company, and then we're going to get a warehouse. We're going to double it. We're going to get more boats. We're going to go different areas. And the guy says, yeah, you can do it. And he goes, yeah, why would we do that? He goes, so you can retire and sit on the beach all day and drink beer. And he goes, we already do that. The question is, how do you want to live your life? This is what people don't understand. You're mad about one thing, happy about something else. Sometimes, man, no one needs $1 billion to be happy. I know you want to say that, I feel it, man. I would love to be able to do more. I would love to be able to do more for other people. I would do more if I had $1 billion. But the truth is that money becomes what you start working for that money. You have to do things to maintain it. You have to do other things, maybe compromise some of who you are. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't want to f someone's business. I couldn't put the hose in someone's mouth and help them drown, dude. I could not do that. I would want to be partners with those people. I'd say, how do I get you to
but is there a way to do that the right way, the morally right way, the ethically right way, and still achieve that level of success?
No. I don't think that there is. Well, not in business, not in that type of business. I don't think that there is. I don't think that there is. I think that there's a happy medium somewhere. I think you can achieve great success.
You sounded Jamaican. I think you're going to achieve.
Yeah, great success, but I think there's a point where you want to like I said, in business, you don't look at the product as much as you look at the bank account. And when you start looking at the bank account, what's the only thing you want to see is upward. And the only way to continue to go upward is it has to come from someplace.
All right.
I think we could. I think it's something to think about, man. I think we could live differently if we wanted to achieve greatness, not a mass empires. But that's. I also believe in ours. I do believe in capitalism, but I think capitalism without heart is what we're living in today. You have to have heart. You have to have belief in the people around you. You have to believe in your country. You have to believe in the culture that you want to, and you got to aim in that direction. That's it.
The Founder. I'm glad I saw it. It was great. Heads up, folks. I asked Andy to check out this 5-part documentary on Netflix that I already saw that I'm going to watch again, that I would love to talk about with him. It's on the dark side of things. It's called Homicide New York. And it's produced by Dick Wolf, who, of course, is responsible for all the Law and Order, FUV. Each episode is an hour long. It's called Homicide New York, and it's about grisly up murders that happened in New York. And it's awesome. It's an awesome watch. So I want to give you guys a heads up, because when we're in Canada, we're gonna have plenty of time to chit chat, because we're in Ottawa. Never been to Ottawa, but it doesn't sound like there's a lot to do. So he and I are going to chat it up about that. You guys should check it out. Got the homework assignment right now. Homicide New York on Netflix. Oh, God. Gas is kicking my chest.
Every time we're watching like Law and Order at home, Law and Order, or the new thing that he has, the Chicago Fire or Chicago whatever, and it goes to the end and you just see Dick Wolf Productions that come across the screen. I don't know why, but I just yell at Wolf Dick every time, and I don't know. Tara just laughs every time. Wolf Dick, and just move on. She laughs at some crazy shit.
So check that out, guys. That way, when we talk about it, you will be well aware of the 5 episodes that we are talking about. I think I want to say it's the 2nd episode. I can't wait till you see that one, Andy. I don't know if it's the 2nd or 3rd, but I think it's the 2nd.
Are they separate episodes, separate stories, or do they all go together?
No, they're separate stories.
Okay.
The one about the dude who's disemboweled and left in a Central Park lake by I'm going to give this one part away. Spoiler alert. By 2 teenagers. I can't wait to see this, because I think this is one of those where I know how Andy's mind is a little bit when it comes to dark. I can't wait to get your opinions on these stories.
What do you give The Founder? How many yo's?
Oh, I get that. I get that 5 yo's out of 5 yo's.
The acting's good.
It was really
the
good.
Acting's good. The story moves along. There's interest in it. I like that movie a lot. I love the way it's filmed. They do a lot of close shots. I don't know what it is about those close shots, but they without being they give you ideas of moments that are important with those close shots. So I think that I like how it was filmed.
AGN, I give it 5 yo's out of 5 yo's, you know?
Yeah. I love it.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right. You want dates?
Give them.
Okay. As we said, you're listening to this. It's Wednesday. We're going to be April 11th. We'll be at River Cree and Enoch, Alberta. Friday, the 12th, April, Grey Eagle, Calgary. Going back to the States, Funny Bone in Syracuse, Saturday, the 13th and 14th of April. Followed by Monday, we'll be at Toronto. Monday, the 15th of April. Toronto will be at Danforth Music. Going back to Cleveland on Friday, the 19th through Sunday, the 21st at the Cleveland Improv. Might be the Funny Bone by the time we get there. Yeah, well, they're making some changes, so I don't know if that's one of the ones that's changing, but it might be. But get your tickets either way. And come out with an attitude. And listen, we give you guys in Cleveland a hard time, but just come out like you want to enjoy comedy, not like you want to challenge us to comedy.
I like when Jay Morris said, it ain't me versus Denver. Yeah, come out like it ain't us versus Cleveland.
Yeah, come out, just have fun. We want to have fun. We came to have fun, so come out and have fun. Saturday, April 27th, we're going to be at Bronson Center in Ottawa. Sunday, the 28th of April, we'll be at the Olympia in Montreal. And then we're coming back. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Then Tuesday, the 30th, we're at Halifax, Nova Scotia at the Belarus Art Center. Followed by Portland. We'll be in Portland, Oregon, May 2nd through the 5th. And then we're going to finish off this leg of these theater shows. Thursday, May 9th, we'll be at the Meyer Theater in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And Saturday, the 11th of May, we'll be at the Wilbur in Boston, which is almost sold out. So if you didn't get your tickets, you better get them now because they're going to be gone. Saturday, May 18th, we're at the Hulu Center at Madison Square Garden. So get your tickets. Come check us out. We're all over the place.
There it is, right?
That's it, man. That's the show.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this, it was hosted by Ari Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button Podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.